I will turn our volume up, and greetings and salutations, travelers. Welcome back to the Inn of Planar Crossroads, and welcome back to our Misadventures Continued game. So, this game is, as our disclaimer, this game is a family-friendly game that if you let your kids watch Saturday morning cartoons or things like that, then they're probably fine to listen to this. It is an adventure, so there's danger and excitement, but other than that, it shouldn't be too stressful for them. As far as announcements for the Inn of Planar Crossroads, before we get going real quick, less than 5 minutes. You can always time me.
Always
less than 5 minutes. Here we go. The Inn of Planar Crossroads has its Patreon and Subscribestar going on. So if you want to support the channel in any way, you can by going over there and doing that there. Our tiers and rewards for patrons, subscribers, patrons and Subscribestars are changing to where they will offer a bit more value, hopefully, for it. They can actually get something physical that they can have, namely 3D mini prints. But that's going to be ironed out and put up in its own video so you guys can see that. All the details on it. And next giveaway, the next one shot that we have is that 500 subscriber that's we'll be putting out a video about it so people can enter into it. We're already going to be given by this time that this releases, we're already going to have given away our physical items for the 500 subscriber appreciation. And our next subscriber appreciation happens at 1,000 subscribers. So that's the next goal. As far as subscribers. Okay. Alright. I think that's all the announcements. Now let's get into the game itself. When last we left Caesar, he had successfully eluded the Dark Folk by shifting into a dragon.
A young dragon, that is.
A young dragon, yes, not a full-grown one. And slowly backing his way down the stairs of the archway was over, and this archway curved, this tunnel of an archway curved down in a spiral one corkscrew, and led into a small hallway that had this, not thin, it was the same size as the rest of the hall, bridge that led out to a pillar, basically like one of the ones he had seen outside, but a huge version. And it led out there on this 100 to 150 foot bridge. And that pillar above it, not too far above it, had a house-sized disc of stone. Not a cube, a disc.
So a round thing that's like a puzzle?
Like a plate.
A puzzle cube?
Kind of, not a puzzle cube, it would be a puzzle disc.
Puzzle
disc? It is a disc. And it had divisions in it and segments. There we go, that's the word I was looking for last time. It was segmented. It was in pieces like a puzzle. And some of those spots were starting to pull away from the others and let light shine through. This strange light that seemed to come from within the stone disc itself. It had writings on the outside and writings on the outside of the circle, and then it had an inner circle with writings, and in between those two were these large-sized carvings, but all of people and things like that, and people and things, and then in between those there were even smaller, more intricate carvings. And at the center, it had the head of a bull. And as Caesar was examining this, he felt a knife jab into his back. And he turned around and saw that it was a Dark Folk that had followed him, specifically the Dark Folk leader. And we are starting in combat. Which means we need an agility check from Caesar. With a D8.
But first...
What?
Is the knife still in my back?
No, he pulled it out when he stabbed you.
A 20 and a 7.
Ooh, a 27. You'll probably win.
Natural 20.
A natural 20. Oh, that's right. Natural 20s explode, so you get to roll again. So 27 plus 12. So go ahead and add that up while I roll his.
39.
39.
The highest I've ever gotten.
Okie dokie.
Unless I got a 40.
He's going second. There's only 2 of you, and he's not going to beat that. He didn't beat that. So, he's going to go second. And now wait. Because you rolled a natural 20, I'm going to reward natural 20s. And that means that you are going to get a major action, an extra major action. So, that means you can go ahead and transform into something if you want to before you do anything.
I turn into the biggest dragon I can.
The biggest dragon you
well,
can?
Depending on how long or big the bridge is.
Well, we stopped with you being on the pillar itself right now.
So it's 80 feet that way and 80 feet that way. Mm-hmm. How big is this dragon?
Well, you can only become a young dragon. You haven't gotten skilled enough to be able to transform big enough to get... you could get bigger. You could get to the size of a big dragon. You just don't... You haven't... Caesar hasn't seen the big dragons in action to be able to mimic their skills and stuff. So you could change into a big one, but you'd still... You wouldn't get to use all the stuff.
I have the young dragon's abilities, but not the big dragon's abilities.
Right. So if you want the abilities, it's better.
I could be a big dragon, but I'd only have the young dragon abilities.
You could be a big dragon, but you could only... you wouldn't get its statistics because you're not used to using it, and you don't have experience watching one. So you could be a young dragon.
I turn into as the biggest dragon I can turn into right now.
If you want the abilities, that's going to be a young dragon. Now you can get bigger. You can go to adult dragon size.
I want to be the size of an adult dragon.
Okay.
But I want to have the abilities of a young dragon.
So basically you're just puffing yourself up to look bigger, not actually be. You won't be stronger.
I'll just have the abilities of a young dragon?
Right. What we would do is we'd let you use the stats of a young dragon.
But be big?
But your size could be bigger, yes.
That's what I wanted to do.
Okay. So you don't have to roll, because you get this. This is well, you do need to roll, actually. Go ahead and roll your alteration, because we're going to see if you're able to pull it off.
2d6. 19, 4, and 6.
All right, you're able to change into that big old dragon then. What's the total result?
29.
That's good, because it was a more difficult transformation to get him to puff up like that. So the 29, and you put your mind to it, and your will and your focus, and you go, and you almost burst into this not large anymore, but it would be huge sized dragon.
So about as big as a house?
As big as a house.
As big as our house?
Yeah, 2-story.
Plus the attic?
Well, that depends.
With the counting the horns?
I don't know. It depends on what shape of he was. But you have successfully changed into that size of dragon. But you're still going to have to use those stats, though I will say that you feel like you've gotten closer to understanding how bigger dragons work, so maybe with practice it might be easier to change into a larger dragon. So
I'd be about the size of my house, that old farmhouse?
No, that's what this dragon is the size of. You would be...
Well, my house does have
bigger than that.
My house does have a small attic.
The house you're staying at?
Has
it's not
this...
yours. You're just squatting there.
Well, it's an abandoned house, so I call it my house. But I store... Sometimes I get some wheat and put it up there.
So, you have that going for you, and this freaks the guy out even more. And so we're gonna let this combat round. We're gonna let this go and see what happens. So you go first. What do you want to do?
So his action is he's like...
Well, he doesn't get to take his action yet because you rolled really good on your initiative.
Well, that's what happens when I roll good.
So.
Especially if I get a nat 20.
So. What do you want to do? What do you want to do? You're this big old dragon in front of this huge. You're this huge dragon in front of this large.
Dark folk?
No, the dark folk's small.
Isn't
He's not even medium sized. He's small. He's quite a bit smaller than you. So.
Wow. He's like 1.5 feet or higher. And I'm 2 stories?
Yeah, pretty much. So, you continue. What do you want to do to him? What do you want to do, period? Not just to him, but what do you want to do?
Am I big enough to go up the stairs?
You're too big to go through the stairs now.
I try and scare...
It's tall enough, but it's not wide enough.
I try and scare him up the stairs.
How?
I put my head down.
And what?
I return him. I get ready to fireball. Ha 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 ha.
Okay, so you get ready to use a fireball. You want to... Are you actually getting ready to blow a fireball, or are you just pretending?
I'm getting ready to do it, but can't I hold it?
You can, if you don't want to blast him.
I can hold... Can't I hold it until it gets up the stairs? Like...
So, what you're saying is you want to...
I don't want to hurt him, but I don't want him to hurt me.
Okay. So, you change into this full-sized dragon, and you kind of put your head down, and you start to build fire and fire starts to peek out of your mouth. And basically what you're doing is you're trying to scare him back up there. Is that correct?
Yes. All the way up there.
Alright, well that would be an influence roll. And let me see...
Do I have anything in influence? Yes, I have a 1d4 in influence.
You do, yes.
An 8 and a 3. That's not very good.
Well, there's circumstantial bonuses, too. So
11.
11 plus what I'm giving you as a bonus. Yeah, he looks sufficiently freaked out. Let me see something. Let me here. Oh, he got a nat 20. Okay, well, he rolled really well. He starts to go back, and then he kind of looks at you, and he slings your blood off of his blade, and he starts to slowly back up.
I still have that fireball in my mouth, and it's active. I can release it, but I'm holding it right now.
He gets it, but he's also kind of seeing something about you. Kind of looking. And you can tell he's thinking real cunningly. And he starts to slowly back up. He backs up half his speed along the bridge. So he can't get there the whole way in one movement. Neither could you as your other form anyway. So it'll take a minute. You gonna keep watching him?
Yes.
Okay. So,
I start getting higher.
Okay. Start to arch up. So what you see with the blood that he slung onto the actual portion of the blood he slung off of his blade onto the ground itself starts to
stone?
Onto the stone. There we go. Onto the stone of the pillar. Starts to move towards blood that you didn't notice was coming from your back, because you did take lethal damage. I need to actually put that on your thing. You took let me see. You took a lot of damage the last time.
That's just because I was a gnome.
No, that's because you didn't see him coming.
Well, since I'm a gnome, he could get further in. And when I turn back, it stays that way, doesn't it?
You took minimum damage, unfortunately for him. But oh no, it's advantage 1, so let me go one more. Oh, that's the wrong thing. No, it wasn't. That's right. Ooh. So yeah, you took a lot of damage. It was 21 versus your 15, so you took 6 damage. So you took 6 damage in one hit, and 5 of it was lethal, which means you have to rest to recover it. It won't come back up. So you have that bleeding coming out. It's not persistent damage bleeding, but it is bleeding. You are drip, drip. And the blood that was slung off his blade, you see an arc of energy kind of swirl up and strike out at it. And it strikes out at the blood that was dripping off of you too, and it goes and starts to mesh together and squish together and starts to form into some kind of form, and into that form smashes in a humanoid shape of energy, and your blood bursts away. But you see something laying on the ground. It looks like a humanoid, and he looks at you and then looks at that. He stops for a second and then keeps backing away. But he sees you keep watching him, and he sees that he watches every drop of blood that comes out of your little spot there. So do you want to keep watching him? You want to investigate that person? You want to...
I start getting closer, less than half my speed. I start getting closer slowly to him. With my horns pointed at him.
With your horns, not your mouth?
With my mouth pointed at him.
Okay. So you start to try and push and intimidate him away.
No, I do this.
You can do that. You're really big to be on this. It's not a thin bridge, but for a creature your size, it's not a very big bridge.
I mean, I'm staying on this pillar, but I go a step forward.
Okay, you put one of your front claws onto the bridge then and kind of pose at him, I'm guessing?
I don't pose at him.
Alright. I understand what you're getting at.
I just want to move forward a little bit.
Okay. He continues to go backwards, watching you. He basically spends his whole portion of his turn moving backwards. He's almost to the door.
So is he on the stairs?
He's almost to the archway there that leads into the little tunnel and stair. Yes.
I turn more into a young dragon while keeping that fireball if I can. I just get smaller and turn into a shape of the young dragon.
Okay. Make me an alteration roll to make sure you can do that in one turn. You can do that in one turn, but there's really no need for a roll. You guys aren't in combat. Well, you are, but you're not actively fighting each other. Yet. So you kind of shrink down a bit so you can fit better onto that bridge, and you start to move onto it some, push him further.
What does that little blood humanoid thing do?
This turn, it doesn't seem to do anything. It seems to be laying there. It looks, you glance back at it. You can make me a perception check to get a better look at it.
I back up and start to slowly head towards it and try to examine it.
Okay, so you take your focus off of the dark folk?
I keep my eyes on him, but I peek back sometimes.
Okay.
Keeping an eye on that thing.
Alright. Well, just going back and forth and not getting a good look, you can tell that it looks human-like. It seems to be it's got long black hair that's kind of matted from what is probably blood of yours. It is... You can't tell if it's a boy or a girl. It's got a leather skirt on with a skirt made of tailored strips of leather. Not like torn leather or bad leather, but it's been sewed that way. And he's got like a little chest piece on that's leather.
Well,
but
it's
it looks
not
tattered.
We don't know if it's a he or a she.
Right, it.
Like,
and it's got sandals on, leather sandals on. What came with it seems to be a spear. Not a very good spear, but a spear, and then a small shield as well. And that's basically all you can get by going back and forth and looking.
I morph into a bigger sized human with my sawtooth sword in my hand.
Well, you're already pretty tall. Are you going to change into your size?
17.
17 feet tall?
No, I mean 7.
Okay, that's only 1 foot taller than yourself. Do you just want to be your size or that?
I just want to be 7 foot with my spiked tooth sword out.
Okay, so you shift back into a cloaked figure, I guess, that is about that size.
But it looks like a knight sort of person.
Like a medieval knight? In shining armor and stuff? Metal plate armor?
Black armor.
Okay. Black plate armor.
Black armor with a sawtoothed sword. Okay.
So you shift into that instead. The dark folk looks and sees this, and he quickly turns around and goes to the door. And he's at the other end of the thing now. And he yells up at, and you hear voices from up in the thing, from up in this staircase. Answer back. So that's what you hear. And with those answers, you also hear footsteps starting to come down. So, now, you know more are coming.
I start to move closer to that humanoid figure.
Okay. You do. You move closer. What do you do?
When I'm at him, or her, it.
Mm-hmm.
I try and... Is he facing the ground?
Mm-hmm.
It facing the ground. I try and turn him over.
Okay. As you spend your turn going over to him and kind of moving him over, it is a him, you find out. And he looks human. He's got very dark hair that's kind of almost tangled and long. It doesn't seem to behave. It's very floofed and wavy. And it goes back to down his mid back. He looks young. You thought maybe he was like a dwarf or a gnome or a halfling, but he's actually a kid. He looks to be, from your estimations of human children, around 8 or 10 years old. And he's got it's a dark tan type of complexion. Kind of like somewhat an olive complexion. I'll show you what that means later, but it's kind of a dark olive complexion. And he seems to start to stir as you're moving him. Starts to wake up, and we will let him have an initiative. I think it's a...
Please don't hurt me. Please don't do that spirit in the face.
I
have armor on. So there. Huh.
You do have armor on, so that is a thing. Let's go ahead and get his stats back, because I gotta get back in that. Hero Muster is a great open legend source if you want to make characters, people. So, plug for that. And that's what we're using to run this individual. So, let me see. His agility is 2, so he gets a d6. Oh, where'd that go? There it is.
He must be young.
So he gets a 16. Alright. So he starts to wake up a little bit. You are able to kind of get an idea of his size and his abilities. He has that spear, he has that shield. Based upon what you're seeing of him, though he looks to be about 8 or 10, he also looks very fit for an 8 or 10-year-old. He has muscle on his frame that is not normally seen on an 8 or 10-year-old. And not thin muscle, he seems to be shorter and more of a bulky muscle. He starts to wake up. It's your turn again. Do you want to do anything else? Well, no, you spent your turn doing that. Mm-hmm. By the time you've done that, you see that the other dark folk have arrived down at the bottom of those stairs at that cavern, and they've all got their weapons drawn. And they've spent their turn getting ready to... coming down and getting their weapons out and all that type of stuff.
I think you're making another character right now.
I don't know what do you mean? I'm not making one right now.
No, I mean you're making another person. Out of me character's blood.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Well, not exactly. That's not exactly how it works, but you'll have to find out what's going on.
Or
yourself.
He was something that was in the box.
It's not a box. It's a disc.
The disc.
So they've arrived down there, and they are getting ready to shoot and stuff. Some of them have bows, and some of them have daggers. And you... that was your turn. The boy starts to wake up and looks around, kind of sees you in your knight form, and says, starts to back away and grab his spear, and he kind of rolls up and puts his shield up. It's a small shield, but it's seen battle. All of his armor, all his little leather armor bits have seen battle. You can see scratches and scars and scuffs on him. He's not been babied, that's for sure. And he sets his shield up, and he puts his spear beside it in the phalanx position, and he gets ready. Yeah. And looks at you.
I've seen that. I've done that before without knowing it's actually a stance.
Mm-hmm. He does that at you, and then he kind of looks around, and then he sees over there, and he kind of looks between you and them, and you and them, and that's what he does. Now it's your turn.
I ask his name. Well, I turn part of my armor into a shield-like form, a body covered with a shield, like a big shield.
Well, you can turn your body into different forms, but that doesn't mean that it's going to work like that form. You do have a shield, if I remember right.
Do I?
No, you've got a dagger, a crossbow, a saw blade, and a light armored robe. So you don't have a shield.
I switched out the shield with light armored robe. Right.
So if you change your body into that shape, it is your body. They can still hit you. It's not going to function like a shield.
Okay. Wait. Does my armor actually look like armor?
It looks like armor. It is not armor, but it looks like armor.
It is my body?
It is your body.
But the sawtooth sword is not.
Right, that's something that is yours. You have that.
And
so just like you have your crossbow.
Mm-hmm. I ask his name.
Okay, that's a free action. You don't have to spend... You have a move action, a major action, and you can use immediate actions to block and interrupt other people. And then you have free actions, like talking to somebody really quickly. Like, what's your name? Is free action.
No, I mean, I say, what's your name? What's your name? In a question voice.
Okay. So you can do that, and he just kind of looks at you, shakes his head. And he's still looking back and forth.
I don't think he can speak. Or talk.
That's up to you to find out. And you see that they're getting ready over there to come and fight you. So you can either... You're going to have to make a choice of fight him, fight them, fight nobody. It's gonna be on you. What do you want to do? You've got your major and your move still left.
Does move mean go back or move around?
Yeah, you can just move. Where do you want to move to?
I want to move back away from him.
Okay.
And I want to turn into that giant dragon that has the things of a baby dragon.
Okay, so you want to try that again?
Dragon. Yes, and this time I actually want to get ready a fireball that I will release if they attack me.
Oh, okay. So you want to go back to where the bridge is and kind of fire it down the bridge at them?
No, not unless they attack me.
Okay, but that's what you're getting ready to do. Okay.
Yes,
I understand.
I have the fireball ready. Once I turn into that big, giant-looking dragon.
Mm-hmm. So roll me your...
Am I under pressure?
Yeah. You're in combat.
19 plus 6 plus 1.
Okay.
So 26.
That's enough. You go huge again instead of just large. So you go you walk over there, and your total armor changes, and you'll. And
I get ready to fireball.
You plan to get ready to fireball. That takes your whole action to get over there and do that. But
I don't want to go towards the bridge. I want to go that way.
It still takes a major action for you to transform like that for now.
Yeah.
It doesn't take a minor action until alteration level 6, which means you could go smack somebody with one form and then shift into another for the next round. And so it's pretty cool when you can do that. But you shift into a huge sized dragon, but only with the power of a young dragon, and you are able to face them again. And the breath is kind of licking, the fire is starting to lick in the back of your throat, but you don't necessarily have it ready to shoot yet. That means it's their turn. They're all going to go on a turn. And so they are going to attack. So, they are going to try to shoot their bows at you. Let me see. Okay. They're going to try and shoot their bow. They're pretty tough little critters.
They're not critters.
Critter can mean lots of things, and they technically kind of are.
They're not.
How do you know? You don't know.
They're just people in rags.
Are they people?
Yes.
You've never seen under their rags.
I don't care. I think they're people, not rodents.
You don't know.
Or they're maybe
all right,
rats.
So the first one is... That doesn't change your guard or anything, so... I don't think it... No, it doesn't change your guard, I don't believe. So that's gonna be 9 damage. Not lethal. So that means you're down to 2 hit points. And then they're gonna roll again. That puts you at 0 hit points. And 6 lethal. And they see, so what happens is they start to go, you start to roar at them, and as you do, you kind of come up and they shoot at the bottom of the dragon, and it kind of catches at the kind of the neck, and where he had already, one that catches at your neck, and you kind of go, "Urgh," and it smacks into the side of you, and you go, "Ugh," where you were hit before, and you kind of start to go, "Ugh." And as you start to fall down and collapse in your dragon form, your body slowly reverts to its true form. And they're like, and start the rest of them that haven't done anything yet start to rush onto the thing to come towards your body. But your eyes kind of go, and as you're slowly losing consciousness, you see step in front of you the boy with his shield, and he goes, you hear it go ting as he stands in a defensive position, and everything for you goes dark.
And that's probably where we're gonna end it.
And that is an appropriately dramatic narrative beat to end on. So we will find out what happens to Caesar
right after this.
Right after these messages.
No, right after this episode.
No.
Yes, yep, we're doing another one.
Not right now, not today. We gotta get this one put up and edited in audio.
Nope, we're doing a third one to have
All
a
right.
marathon.
Thank you for coming, everybody. We hope you enjoyed this episode. We will be getting back to it shortly, but you'll have to wait to see what happens to Caesar. As always, have a great day. God bless, enjoy, and remember that all of this is brought to you by patrons and travelers like you. Thank you. All right, have a great day. God bless. Goodbye. Say bye.
Bye. This content was made possible by travelers and viewers like you. Thank you.